Hello everybody. If you have been following for the last, well, most of the year to be honest, the problems we've been having at the station with our rail services, you will recognise that the people standing with me have been in some videos with me at the station, particularly in Mossley. We've got Andrew and Andrea here from the Friends of Mossley Station. And this video is a little bit different because rather than being at the station back home in Mossley, we're here in the House of Commons in Parliament because we have just met with Chris Grayling, the Secretary of State for Transport, and Andy MacDonald actually as well, the Shadow Secretary of State, to explain and articulate some of the problems we've been having. Now look, I am absolutely clear with people, the level of disruption that we've experienced over the last 6 months in particular has been completely unacceptable. It's been something which has hugely impacted on people's lives in a way which is completely untenable. And I know some people will say in response to this, well, we mentioned this to the government, they know this, what's the point of doing it again? Well, look, this has to be resolved. We cannot go on like this. We cannot go on with people's lives being affected in the way that it has. So first of all, I'm hugely grateful for these guys for making the journey down to Parliament today to meet with the Secretary of State. Do you want to say a little bit how about you found the meeting and some of the things we talked about?
I was really pleased that we got an audience, so to speak, with Chris Grayling. One of the reasons being that I was able to put over the human aspect, so the way it's impacting on people's lives on a daily basis. So people are on written warnings because they can't get into work on time, and coming home they're late for picking up children, they can't take them to the leisure activities in the evening, so it was really good to be able to voice that.
Yeah, and we made Mr Grayling aware that, absolutely unequivocally aware, there hasn't been any let-up or improvement in the problems which we've been facing since the 20th of May, whereas in other areas the emergency timetable may have made some difference. For us, things have just got worse and worse, and we're now faced, from Mossley, with an even worse timetable starting next week. We've made it very clear that the timetable is not fit for purpose, and that the number of cancellations is absolutely unacceptable. Trains are massively late, very regularly late. Only 4% of trains have actually been on time in the last 6 months. And then when trains are cancelled, TransPennine are not doing what they said they'd do and putting in stop orders as mitigation. It's ruining people's lives and their working lives as well.
So we made Chris Grayling aware, and it's worth saying it again, 4% punctuality at Mossley, so 4% of services running on time, not 40, which would be terrible, not 14, which would be terrible, but 4%. I think it was important. I think he was shocked to hear it was as bad as that. Now, as Andrew just said, originally we were told the emergency timetable would stabilise. I don't think anyone would feel that that happened for us. The reasons still cited for why things are so bad are basically that the delays to electrification, as people know, have meant the diesel fleet is still being deployed. It's being deployed more thinly, as well as that there's a feeling that there's overcapacity, there's an overestimation of how many services could get through the centre of Manchester as part of the new timetable. Now, those are things that are not easily resolved. Now, one of the things, therefore, that we're very, very keen on, and we made this point, and we're going to be following it up because we were with campaigners, not just from our constituency, but also with Thelma Walker MP and then Debbie Abrahams MP as well. So it's the whole rail corridor working together, is, as Andrew says, this point around stop orders. So if a local service has been cancelled or turned back and an express train is coming through, I think we all feel very strongly there's just an absolute case that service should be stopped and passengers should be picked up. Anything that is from a passenger-based railway perspective would clearly treat people in that way. Now, we're being told by the rail companies, Network Rail won't allow that, and Network Rail are saying it's the rail companies. We think it is the rail companies who have the control over that decision. So we're going to follow that up, and hopefully that will be some way to give people some form of relief and knowledge that at least they won't be stranded for hours. Now, it's still across a picture which is completely unacceptable, but I think that's important and we all want to see it. So I'm going to follow that up straight away tomorrow in writing. But we're not going to stop campaigning on this, keep raising it with ministers, because they are responsible for the rail network and it has to get better. Again, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone involved in the Friends of Mossley Station and the whole Shrug group across the the corridor, because I think you guys are doing brilliant work, and at least people know there are local people, experts involved in collecting that information and getting it to ministers directly, in this case, in it with them. But we do, and I as a local MP completely understand how bad this is. Not going to stop talking about it, not going to let it go away, and hope that at least gives people some knowledge that it's on the agenda of the people who ultimately make the very top decisions that are affecting this. So Andrew, thank you again for all your work, not just for coming down today, though it is hugely appreciated at this busy time of year to make the journey down, putting those comments directly to the Secretary of State. And please, everybody, keep your emails coming, keep your letters coming, your tweets. I try and respond to as many as I can in the morning. You'll understand there are so many, it's not possible to get back to everyone, but I collate all that information and it is important, so thank you very much for that.